Hello everyone, it's Mozu Solo Dev. In this video, I would like to share with you how I did this lightning bolt using Unity's shader graph and particle system. So if you want to get this, check the links in the description. And if you want to know how to use this in your games and in other projects, feel free to subscribe for when I publish a video about that. So firstly, you can create a canvas in Photoshop with 1000 by 2000 pixels and a black background. And then with the pen tool, do this kind of zigzag lines, and then right click and select stroke path, then double click on the layer and add a little bit of outer glow, and then remove the dark background and export as a PNG. Then create another canvas with 1000 by 1000 pixels and then add a bright spot at the center, and then by using the pen tool, do this kind of cracks or something similar. Then right click and select fill path with a white color, and then with a soft eraser, erase some parts of the edges, and then remove the dark background and export as a PNG. Then you are going to make a flare, so you can create a new material and select Unity's default particle texture. Add emission to it with a blue color and a bit of intensity, and then create a new particle system and set the duration to 0.5, the start lifetime to 0.5, the speed to 0 because it doesn't need to move, and then we don't need shape. Then set the emission burst to a count of 1, and then in the renderer tab, add the material you just created, and then add size over lifetime and also color over lifetime to fade out, and this is what it looks like. Then for the lightning bolt, you need to create an unlit shader graph. Add a texture 2D property, connect it to a sample texture 2D node, and add in a step node, connect it to a multiply node and then to a split node, and connect the A output to the alpha. Then add a color property in HDR mode, and then in order to make the texture move, you need a UV node, a time node, and a float property called speed. Then connect the time and the speed to a multiply node, and then connect both the UV and the multiply node to a tiling and offset node. Then connect its output to the UV of the sample texture, and now it moves. Then save the asset and create a new material out of this shader graph and select a bluish color or any color you want. Then create a new particle system, set the duration to 1, the lifetime to 0.5, the delay to 0.2. Then in the renderer tab, set the material you just created and add the burst count of 1, and we don't need shape. Then check 3D start size and set the Y value to about 10, and then you can move the particle system upwards. And with the size over lifetime curves, change the X curve to this kind of curve, which makes the lightning bolt decrease in size and disappear. Then you can set the position of the flare we created at the beginning to the top of the lightning bolt. And this is what it looks like for now. Then for the sparks, create a new particle system, set the duration to 1, set the shape to circle, and set the burst count as a random number between 14 and 18. Then set the same material the flare uses, and then reduce the lifetime to about 0.5, increase the speed to 10, and set the size as a random number between 0.2 and 0.3. Then set a color over lifetime to fade out, and this is the current result. Then duplicate the sparks particle system and remove shape. Then set the burst count to 1 and the speed to 0. And also set the size to 4, and this is the effect it does. Then for the cracks, create a new material and choose the cracks texture you created. Then use emission and increase the intensity. Then create a new particle system and set the duration to 2, the lifetime to 2, the speed to 0 because we don't need it to move. Set the rate over lifetime to 0 and a burst count of 1 and no shape. Then set the size to 4. Then set the crack material you just created, and don't forget to change the surface type to transparent. And this is the final result. So as you can see, you can change it to any color you want. It is highly customizable. So if you want to get this, check the links in the description. And if you want to know how to use this in games and other projects, feel free to subscribe for when I post a video about that. Also check out my other projects and other videos, which you can also get from the links in the description. Thanks for watching.